He was one of the richest men in Rome, and he said none of it mattered compared to peace of mind. Around 60 AD, Seneca had everything society tells you to chase: wealth beyond imagination, power as advisor to Emperor Nero, fame as a philosopher and writer, influence over the entire Roman Empire. But he wrote constantly about how none of it brought peace, how the people with the most external success were often the most miserable inside, how he'd trade all his riches for calm, because he understood something most people spend their lives ignoring: that outer success without inner peace is just expensive suffering, that you can have everything and still be broken inside, and that real power isn't controlling the world, it's controlling yourself. Here's the trap most people fall into. They think success will bring peace. Make enough money and you'll relax. Get the promotion and you'll be satisfied. Find the relationship and you'll be complete. Achieve the goal and you'll finally be calm. So they chase, they grind, they sacrifice everything for external achievements, thinking that once they arrive, they'll have peace. But Seneca watched this pattern destroy people, including himself at times. He saw that success doesn't bring peace. It brings new problems, new pressures, new fears of losing what you gained. The businessman stressed about his business, the politician paranoid about his position, the wealthy person anxious about their wealth, all successful, none at peace. Because peace doesn't come from circumstances, it comes from inside. And if you don't build it there, no amount of external success will create it. You'll just be successful and stressed, wealthy and worried, powerful and paranoid. That's not winning. That's just suffering at a higher level. Seneca knew this from experience. He accumulated massive wealth, more than he could ever spend. And it didn't make him peaceful. It made him a target, made him constantly concerned about managing it, made him dependent on keeping it. The more he had, the more he had to protect. The more he could lose, the more he worried. So he started asking different questions. Not how do I get more, but how do I need less? Not how do I achieve success, but how do I find peace regardless of circumstances? Not how do I control the outside world, but how do I control my internal world? And that shift changed everything. Because when your peace depends on external things, you're never secure. Markets crash, people leave, health fails, circumstances change. You're at the mercy of forces you can't control. But when your peace comes from within, nothing external can take it from you. You're free. Not because you have everything, because you need nothing to be okay. Seneca wrote this line that cuts deep. It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Think about what he's saying. Poverty isn't about how much you have, it's about how much you need. If you need more to be happy, you're poor, even if you're rich. But if you're content with what you have, you're rich. Even if you're poor, the difference is internal, not external. This flips everything. Because society measures success externally. How much money, how much status, how much achievement. But Seneca is saying that's measuring the wrong thing. Real wealth is internal. It's peace, contentment, freedom from needing more. And you can have that right now, without waiting for anything external to change. He also taught about the cost of success. He said, if you're not careful, the things you chase will end up chasing you. You work for money, then money controls your decisions. You chase status, then status controls your behavior. You seek power, then power controls your life. The very things you thought would free you end up enslaving you, because now you're terrified of losing them. Seneca watched rich men live like prisoners, trapped by their wealth, controlled by their possessions, anxious about every fluctuation in their fortune, and he realized they weren't free. They were more trapped than people with nothing, because they had so much to lose. But the person with inner peace, they're free. They can lose everything external and still be okay. Not because they don't value things, but because their core stability doesn't depend on them. That's real power. Not power over things. Power over yourself, over your reactions, over your need for more. He wrote constantly from personal experience. There were times when he was in favor with Nero, powerful, influential, and times when he fell out of favor, exiled, threatened. His external circumstances swung wildly, but he practiced maintaining internal calm regardless, and that practice saved him from being destroyed by the chaos around him. He'd write in his letters, "Today was difficult, but I maintained my composure. I remembered that I can't control events, only my response, that this challenge is temporary, but my character is permanent. This isn't just philosophy, this is survival strategy. When everything outside is chaos, inner peace is the only refuge." Now, let's talk about why this matters for you. Because you're probably chasing external success while ignoring inner peace, and it's not working. You achieve things and feel empty. You get what you wanted and want more. You're successful on paper, but stressed in reality. That's the trap Seneca is warning about. Think about your current goals. How many of them are about external achievement? More money, better job, bigger house, nicer car, more followers, all external. Now, ask yourself, if you got all of that tomorrow, would you actually be at peace? Be honest. Probably not. You'd just find new things to chase, new ways to feel insufficient. Because the problem isn't what you lack externally, it's what you lack internally. Seneca would tell you to flip your priorities. Make inner peace the main goal, and let external success be optional. Not that you stop working or achieving, but that your peace doesn't depend on those outcomes. You work because the work is meaningful. You achieve because the process is fulfilling. But you're okay either way, success or failure. Your core stability stays intact. How do you build this? Seneca gives practical advice. First, practice voluntary discomfort. Occasionally experience what you fear. Spend less, live simpler, do without, not as punishment, but as training. To prove to yourself that you'd be okay even if you lost things. This breaks the attachment, the neediness, the fear, and creates confidence that your peace doesn't depend on comfort. Second, reflect daily on what you can control versus what you can't. You can control your effort, your character, your responses. You can't control outcomes. Other people, circumstances, external events. When you accept this completely, you stop basing your peace on the uncontrollable, and that creates stability nothing external can shake. Third, practice gratitude for what is, rather than anxiety about what isn't. You have enough right now. Maybe not everything you want, but enough. Seneca would say, recognize that. Appreciate it. Build peace on that foundation, not on the fantasy of future achievement. Fourth, remember death. Seneca kept this front of mind. Not to be morbid, but to maintain perspective. Your external achievements mean nothing when you're dying. The size of your house doesn't matter. Your bank account is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is whether you lived with peace, whether you were free inside. That clarity helps you prioritize correctly right now. Here's the hard truth. You could achieve every external goal and still be miserable. Seneca saw it constantly. People who had everything and enjoyed nothing, who were successful and suicidal, who won externally and lost internally. because they built their entire sense of self on things that could be taken away. And when you do that, you're never secure, never at peace, just constantly defending, constantly worried, constantly chasing more. But if you build inner peace first, everything else becomes easier. You can pursue success without being enslaved by it. You can enjoy wealth without needing it. You can handle failure without being destroyed by it, because your core stability isn't touched by any of it. That's freedom. That's power. That's what Seneca spent his life teaching. Eventually, Nero ordered Seneca to kill himself. The ultimate loss. Everything external stripped away. And Seneca faced it with calm, with acceptance, with peace. Not because he wanted to die, but because he'd built inner stability that didn't depend on external circumstances. Even his life. He'd rather die at peace than live in fear. That's the level of inner strength he developed. You don't need to face that choice. But you do need to make a choice about what you prioritize. External success or internal peace. And here's what Seneca proved. You can have both. But only if you build peace first. If you chase success first, you'll get success without peace. Which isn't actually winning. It's just comfortable suffering. So the question is, what are you actually optimizing for? More stuff, more achievement, more status, or more peace? Because those require different strategies, different priorities, different daily choices. And most people are on the wrong path, chasing things that will never give them what they actually want. Seneca had everything, and he said peace mattered more. Not because success is bad, but because success without peace is empty, and peace without success is still rich. You get to choose which one you build. But if you're smart, you build peace first. Let success be the bonus, not the foundation. Because outer success is fragile. Markets crash, bodies fail, circumstances change. But inner peace, once built, stays with you, through success and failure, through gain and loss, through everything life throws at you. That's the real achievement. That's the real power. That's what Seneca knew 2,000 years ago and what you need to know today. Calm is the real power, not because it looks impressive, but because it's the only thing that actually works when everything else falls apart. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that works.